It's time now for County-Wide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Brad Miller as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives here in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's County-Wide.
Good day and welcome to the program. It is County-Wide. Brad Miller with you, and we're happy to welcome into studio a guest that we've chatted with in the past. Tamara Nicely is with the WIC program, Women, Infants, and Children. We say hello to you.
Hi.
Good to have you back.
Thank you. It's good to be here
Again. We'll talk a bit more about this important program and just kind of what it is. WIC is a synonym, WIC, or not a synonym. What am I trying to say? You know what I'm trying to say. Tamara knows an acronym. Thank you. Women, Infants, Children, WIC, WIC.
Correct.
So we'll call it WIC from here on out, and that's kind of the handle that it's had for a long time. This program's pretty well established and has been around for a while.
Yes,
in the county.
It's been around for over, well, it's been nationwide. It's a federal program, so it's been around for over 30 years. 30
years.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Now, okay, you say federal program. I got to ask you, the big shutdown.
Yes.
Thankfully, fading in our rearview mirror a tiny bit. Did that have any kind of an impact on the WIC program here?
A little bit, in the sense that, one, you know, there was a lot of confusion. People thought that we were closed. We actually were never closed, but there was a lot of people that thought that we were, unfortunately, so that, I think, hindered people from coming in.
Okay.
The only thing that it did for us was, you know, we were a little unsure about our funding at the moment, so we were, in the beginning of October during the shutdown, we were only able to issue 1 month of checks, which normally we can do more. Okay. But we're all back to normal now.
Okay.
Everything's good.
Why were you not closed? Was your department exempt for a...
No, we had this. Arizona State actually had some lottery funding that they used to help get us through, and then there was also some funding from our fiscal year starts October 1st. Okay. So there was some funding left over from the prior year.
A little in the account, and then in a perhaps similar way that the state kind of pumped up or supported the Grand Canyon.
Right.
Kind of help with the WIC. I remember hearing about that, and I was unclear to what extent that kind of happened, and that's good they did. Yeah. And to me, that kind of goes to spell the importance of the program.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about that. For the uninitiated, we've chatted before, but for folks who are unfamiliar with WIC, you do what? Give us the basics.
With the basics.
Let's start there.
Okay. Well, WIC is first and foremost a nutrition program, nutrition education program. So we provide nutrition education to pregnant women, you know, breastfeeding, postpartum moms, to the infants and children, of course. So we cover all aspects of nutrition for that part of the lifespan. We also do the supplemental foods. So different things, nutritious, healthy foods that we provide with checks that we give them that they can use then at the store. We also provide breastfeeding support, so if they choose to breastfeed, we can definitely support them in that choice and help them with that. And then we also do referrals to other programs, so they may come to us and be needing things beyond what we have to offer, so we're able to offer them resources, you know, referrals to other organizations within the community.
When we talk about, now you are a registered nutritionist? Dietitian.
Yes.
Okay, what's the difference?
Credentialing.
I'm curious.
Credentialing is that there's specific criteria to be a dietitian. There's certain things that you have to go to. Nutritionist is kind of encompasses a wide range of different programs and things, so it's a little bit different.
Is your focus as such then toward the children or the mothers or both?
Both. Both. We want to cover, yes, absolutely.
Okay. Let's talk about kind of that piece of it for a minute. We see studies, some that come out that have been very long term about nutrition and health.
Yes.
School scores. Yes. Attention, you know, ADD issues. I mean, on and on and on. And as any doctor will probably tell you, nutrition is key to almost any endeavor you'd care to take, whether you're an infant or a mom or anywhere in between. Right. Do you see, I mean, you see that on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
Talk to me a little bit about that and why that's so important.
Well, it's so important. We want moms to be healthy during their pregnancy, so we help them with nutrition, things that they need to be doing, taking their prenatal vitamins, what kinds of things they should be eating, and then of course if they're breastfeeding, we want to keep their energy up, obviously, and even if they're not, when having a new infant, you want to keep your energy up and be in good health so that you can take care of those kids. Right. And then with infant feeding, there's a lot to infant feeding that people don't even realize if you've never had an infant. And, you know, because of course they can't tell you when they're hungry, they can't tell you when they're full, they can't tell you all these different things, but they actually give you a lot of cues, a lot of feeding cues. So we go over that. We spend a lot of time talking about how infants are telling you when they're hungry and when they're full and things like that. And then as they get older, you know, kids go through feeding jags, they go through, you know, picking stages and all kinds of things. So we help moms, you know, deal with that and let them know that they're not alone, it's normal. Because that's a lot of the things is that they don't really, they think maybe it's only my kid that's doing this. So letting them know that, it, you know, this behavior is normal or this is normal. Many people have been through it and this is what has helped some other people get through it.
When my son was 2, we were sure he was going to starve to death because he just wouldn't eat. Emily's crying. We're just, you know, and all this. And my mom says, don't worry. When he's hungry, he'll eat. And then it's like a pack of wolves. Right. And for a new parent, that can be, I mean, I'm literally, she was in tears, worried about this, but kids are kids. Yes. And until you've experienced that. Exactly. It can be, frankly, very scary.
It can be, exactly. So we like to let moms know that they're, you know, this is normal and give them some tips and some advice on maybe how to get through that.
Right. We've had folks with very much breastfeeding advocates, and for infant babies that can be, some choose not to, and that's fine. But we know, I think to me it seems that the most important part about that is that early life, babies, brand new, newborns, through, you know, however long a period that may be, and that the things that they're going to get, no matter the source, is just absolutely critical to start building, you know, all of the things that you need to continue to live a healthy life after that. Correct. So, is it most important is there a certain age that is especially, you know, that you really focus on? I know you talk to people of all ages, kids of all ages, you know, but you know, those first years or first year or two, are those kind of really
you know, they are really important. And, you know, at this point in time, we're really focusing on the infant feeding because it can set the stage for later in life. Yeah. So, you know, we are having some issues, you know, in the country in general with, you know, overweight and obesity and things like that. And sometimes with infant feeding, we want to make sure that infants aren't being overfed because, again, that can lead to that later on down the road. So we're focusing a lot on infant feeding and knowing, you know, when those babies are hungry, when they're full, different signs, because they give you a lot of different signs that you might not know how to read if you've never had an infant before. They can be, you know, kind of vague and well, and things like that. So
they don't come with a.
They do not come with an instruction manual.
Instructions,
unfortunately.
That'd be nice.
So we've been, our staff, I mean, myself and staff have in the statewide have been being trained a lot on these infant feeding cues. It was stuff I didn't know, and I wish I would have known when my daughter was an infant, because I think it would have helped an awful lot.
And that's maybe part of it, that this information continues to evolve. Right. People are looking at these issues just nonstop. Yes. And almost seemingly every month there's something new to consider.
And sometimes it can be frustrating with the field of nutrition because things do change so often. But, you know, we just try to keep up on the most current and give that information to our clients.
As we go to our break, I'm going to ask you one thing. Soda pop, good or bad?
Bad.
Rapid fire round with Tamara Nicely. Yeah, I kind of figured you'd say that. Let's take a short break. Tamara Nicely's here, the WIC program, Women, Infants, and Children. We'll be right back after this.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it! I see it! Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now, can you feel the sun?
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Ready or not, here I come.
Take time to be a dad today.
Daddy, I'm gonna find you.
Welcome back to the program. It is Countywide. Brad Miller with you and our guest today, Tamara Nicely. Tamara is a supervisor here in the Cottonwood office with the WIC program. That's Women, Infants, and Children. Nutrition really is kind of the core of the service you provide and the different kinds of things. Nobody has a typical day.
Right.
But can we pretend that you do? And maybe can you just kind of walk me through, you know, when you leave here today and go to the office, how do you start up? What kind of happens on a given day?
Well, would you like me to give it to you from the client's perspective as they
whatever you think is our listeners could kind of appreciate and understand better. What I want to get to is that the qualifications piece of it, because you and I have chatted about some folks just don't know that they qualify or don't understand what they have to do.
Right.
So maybe from that perspective we can talk about how that happens.
Okay. And people are always welcome to come into our office to see if they qualify. We do appointments. We see people by appointment.
Okay.
So they could come into the office and make an appointment, or they could call our appointment line number, which I think you're going to give out in a little bit.
Yeah.
So they could do that, and then once they have made an appointment, they'll come in for their appointment, come into the office. There's a list of things that we will ask them to bring. They would need to bring an ID with them. If they're enrolling children also, they would have to bring, you know, like birth certificate or shot record or something for the child. They would, if they're on access, we would ask them to bring their access information in. Because if they are on access, that automatically qualifies them income-wise for our program. So if they're on access, food stamps, cash assistance, or Section 8 housing, any of those automatically will then qualify them for the WIC program.
Okay.
Because we do check, it is an income-based program.
Right.
So if they're not on any of those programs, we also ask them to bring in proof of household income, and that would be for anyone working in the household, so they could bring, you know, paycheck stubs or anything showing income for anyone working.
Okay.
And then something showing where they live, so that we know that they live in Yavapai County, they live in the area. They would come in, we would, you know, look over all of their documents. Then we would go through a series of nutrition and health questions, just kind of getting an idea of where they're at.
I want to point out you're not doctors.
No, we are not doctors.
It's not like a medical exam.
No, it's not.
When you say questions, it's a conversation like we're having.
It is a conversation. We would do their height, weight, and we would check their iron. We do check iron, but that's the only sort of medical type testing that we would do is, you know, the height, weight, and iron. And otherwise,
for moms or for kids or both?
Yeah.
Why that?
You know, many women and children are anemic or iron deficient. So it's something that we check so that we can educate on how to improve that, because if they're low in iron, that can make you tired.
Right.
And especially as a new mom, you are already
tired,
right?
Yeah,
so, so we want to hopefully help prevent them becoming anemic, but if they are, then we can, you know, give them advice on what things they can do to improve that.
I saw a study recently, and perhaps you'll be very familiar with it. And I can only kind of paraphrase it because I don't have it in front of me, but basically the idea was that when you kind of get, you know, we talked about this is kind of a program for lower income folks typically, and the study was kind of suggesting that when we're talking about lower incomes and less money available to spend on food, the quality, the nutritional value of the food just gets worse and worse and worse, along with the affordability. So when you know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you can't, sometimes it costs a little bit more to buy fresh veggies, say, but less to buy a can of SpaghettiOs, and so on. And it seems like that kind of slide is that where you come in? Is that where you try to kind of help? Are there requirements about the kinds of, say, foods and those kinds of things that these families have access to? Is that what you're trying to do?
Well, because excuse me, we are a supplemental food program also, so we're going to provide them with certain foods. So there's certain foods that they're going to receive from WIC.
Okay.
And those would be, of course, the healthier foods. They are going to receive checks for fruits and vegetables, you know, fresh, frozen or canned, actually.
There you go.
Yeah, fruits and vegetables, whole grains, so whole grain bread or tortillas or brown rice. Some certain cereals that are, you know, the healthier, low sugar, high fiber type cereals, beans, eggs, low fat milk, cheese. So they're going to receive those types of foods from the WIC program.
So it becomes, in that sense, an educational program as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And really that's our focus. I mean, of course we are there to help supplement their diets and their nutrition, but also to give them the nutrition education to go along with that.
Okay, I kind of interrupted.
That's
you
okay.
were kind of walking us through, but we talked about the qualifiers
Yes.
and certain things like this. Access folks are already in, and
Right.
so on. You go
Right.
through that. How long is the process once they come in and you've had that talk and you've gone through the paperwork until they can actually start to partake in the benefits of the program itself?
It usually takes anywhere from about 40 to 60 minutes to do the appointment, just depending on how many people
Okay, so
are
very
there to enroll. Yeah, pretty quickly, yes.
It's
we
not
go through
4 to 6 weeks. We'll call you.
no. It's
Okay.
we'll know. You'll know that day. I mean, you'll know within an hour if you're going to qualify or not.
I ask that because it seems like some folks, by the time they come to you, might have been feeling the pinch for a while.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So we want to get them in and get them help that day.
Again, we were chatting before the show, and I wanted to share this with the audience a little bit about sometimes folks just don't understand that they do qualify.
Right.
Or that are misunderstand the kind of concept of the program, and
Yes.
I guess shows like we're doing right now maybe will help with that. But what's kind of the biggest problem that does prevent folks who would otherwise qualify from taking part of your service?
Sometimes people just don't think they qualify. If they are working, we have a lot of working families. Most of our families are working families, and like I said, there is an income qualification, but it's they would have to call really to find out if they would qualify, but we do have flyers and things up around town to give those numbers, and also if they wanted to go to the website, the county website, they could find the income qualifications for WIC to see if they
start the
qualify.
investigation and then find out, worry about the qualification later.
Absolutely, and definitely just always give us a call. We can certainly tell you over the phone really quickly. You can tell us what your income is or roughly, and we can tell you if you're going to qualify or not.
And we would extend that, Grandma, if your daughter is a new mom and is maybe having some trouble, you're concerned, pick up the phone or encourage her to do so.
Absolutely.
There's a million different scenarios that we can paint.
Absolutely.
The number is 639-8134. The website, I can go to the county's website?
Yeah, through the county's website.
Okay, so just Google Yavapai County and you'll get there. They've got a terrific website for outreach. Let's take another short break. There's more to come. Tamara Nicely is our guest. The WIC program, Women, Infants, and Children. We'll be back right after this.
Ronnie had huge aspirations.
He knew he could get pills in the community.
He found his body in an apartment in Telford.
I never thought my son would take prescription drugs without a prescription.
Secure your medications and talk with your kids. Visit drugfree.org.
Wake the sun, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
I would steal pills from my friend's mom.
We talk about all the common drugs, but never prescription medication.
I was addicted to pills.
Had I more knowledge, I would have done things differently.
Secure your medications and talk with your kids. Visit drugfree.org.
A single ember from a wildfire can travel over a mile. That ember can ignite and destroy your home or community. You can't control where that ember will land. Only what happens before it does. Visit fireadapted.org to learn how you can help protect your community from wildfires.
Have a problem. Do you have any number? You don't have it in front of you, I know, but how many folks are enrolled currently? Say through your office or through the county? Or?
We serve about 1,500 a month or so. Well, it's difficult because of how we issue checks and things, but maybe about 400, 300, 400,
okay.
600. I'm not
sure. I know
sure.
you don't have everything. I'm kind of putting you on the spot.
Right.
But just ballpark wise.
Right.
And is this seasonal in any way? Kids are born every day. So
right, they are. But you know,
not,
it seems like it does kind of go up and down. Like, so it seems like people, you know, come in a little less during the summer. Maybe they're on vacation or something. And around the holidays, people get busy, maybe forget to come into the office, things like that.
Okay,
so,
okay. Yeah, I didn't know if there was
there is a little bit, but
it seems like everything has one.
Not so much with, you know, how babies are being born, because like you said, they're born all the time. But
okay.
but sometimes with, you know, people just get busy with, you know, with the summer and with holidays and things like that. So.
Okay. Well, let's leave them as we kind of wrap up the program. Once again, 639-8134 and the county, Yavapai County website to find out more about this program, whether you qualify. And again, if it's maybe someone close to you on their behalf, we're not going to tell you to butt into their business, but maybe have a conversation. Maybe Grandma can come and talk to Tamara or your staff about it, and then go from there, because we know that there are probably a lot more people out there who could take advantage of the program that simply don't.
Yes.
And we would hate to think that anyone is struggling because they simply don't know. So that's the word. Tamara, thanks. Always good to talk to you.
Thank you.
Terrific.
Great to be here.
Appreciate the work you do over there, and for coming in and being our guest today. Tamara Nicely, Women, Infants, and Children, 639-8134. It's countywide, and we'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday as we tackle the hot topics and talk to the decision makers across Yavapai County. That's Countywide with Brad Miller and Paul David each Tuesday and Thursday on this Yavapai Broadcasting station.